I don't understand what I'm doing here in my work. Now, that's how I felt exactly 10 years ago when I started my work as a fresher. I was completely lost. Now, don't mistake me. I was able to do my job. Whatever work I was supposed to do, I was able to submit it before the deadline. But that is it. I was just able to do my work without understanding the why behind it. So if someone used to come to me and say that, hey, Pavni, write this trigger, write this class, write this validation rule, and this is the time by when I want it, then I used to just complete the task that was assigned to me. But I was never able to understand that what is happening behind the picture, what is the reason why I'm even developing this whole thing. And maybe it was my mistake also because I was not asking the right questions to my lead or my mentor. But that is because I did not even know that how I was supposed to think. I thought that my job over here is to just work and submit the deliverables by the deadline that is given to me, and that is it. And that's what happened. I was just doing my work without creating an impact. But behind the scenes, I was so lost. I was so confused because I wasn't able to figure out quite a lot of things. And that is exactly the reason why I'm making this video today. In case you're a student who is preparing for their career, or if you're a fresher or basically someone who is just trying to navigate through their tech or corporate career, then this video is just for you. And in case you're new here, then hello everyone, I'm Pavni and I'm working as a Salesforce consultant here at Stockholm. I have previously worked as a teacher for quite a few years. I have also worked as a Salesforce consultant for more than 6 years in different roles and across different industries. But irrespective of the role and the industry that I have worked in, I have realized that having true clarity and understanding of the work that we are doing in truly helps to create a big impact. And one thing that I have realized is that we feel a disconnect or we feel confused and lost during the starting phase of our career, not because we lack the capability or not because we do not have the required skills. It is just because we do not have the understanding of the bigger picture or we are lacking the clarity that is required to do the work. For example, when I was new into the work, I still remember the first task that I was given. I was said that Salesforce is the tool that we are going to work on. I need to write a trigger basically, which would do so and so task. And I need to submit it within the next 1 week. And that is it. There was no context, no other explanation given. And even I plunged into my task just thinking that, okay, my work is just to write this trigger. This is the input, this is the output, this is going to be the flow, etc., etc. And I think this is the reason why many of us feel the disconnect when there is a lack of clarity in the work that we are doing. And that is why I'm creating this video today, wherein I intend to give you the bigger picture of how corporates actually work. I do not want to get into the tools right away, nor do I want to give you the buzzwords as well. We will just try to understand that how the corporate world actually functions in a simple manner. And I hope that once you understand this, tech and in fact, the work that you're working on actually starts making sense. Now, whenever we are talking about any industry or any company or any business in general, there are few components that is common across all of these spaces. We have people, we have processes, the data, the decisions, and finally the outcome. In today's video, we will be mainly concentrating on the first two aspects, which is the people and the process. And in order for me to explain these terminologies better, I will be using a simple example, maybe an example with which many of you can already relate to, that is organizing a college fest. Now imagine that in your college, you are about to organize a college fest. In order to do this, since this is a humongous task, this cannot be done by 1 or 2 people, right? So instead, what do? We organize different committees for it. We can say that we have the main core organizing committee, some volunteers, the sponsorship team, the marketing team, and finally logistics team. Now we have different teams who will be having their own set of responsibilities, but ultimately all of them will be working towards one main goal, which is to make the college fest a success. Now corporate also works in a similar fashion. You might be hearing many different roles like managers, lead, interns, analysts, testers, etc. But all the work that they will be doing within the company will be directly or indirectly supporting one business decision or one business goal. Now, early in my career, I only saw my task as an individual work or an individual work item. I did not realize that I was just a part of the chain of work. But once I understood that my work fed into someone else's work, I started working with much more intention. But why do so many roles exist in a particular business? It is because of a simple reason that work can be divided. Some people plan, some execute, some review, and some decide. Now, it is important to remember that the different roles exist in a company, and the reason is not always hierarchy. It is also about accountability, your expertise, and efficiency. Now that we have understood that why people exist in an organization, let us look at the process. Process, in simple terms, will let us know that how a work is done in a step-by-step method. Now, if we take the example of our college first, the process that can be followed is, first, an idea is proposed, then a budget is approved, sponsors are approached, the venue is booked, and then marketing begins, and finally, the event is executed. If we start working in a random manner, without a process, then the people involved in this might feel lost because there is lack of clarity, structure, and organization. The same concept applies in a corporate world as well. Process exists so that the work is repeatable, predictable, and measurable. I read this somewhere and it just made so much sense. People create processes, but finally, processes guide people. And this is one of the foundations of corporate work. I hope that this explanation gave you a clarity on the people and the process aspect. Having spoken about these 2 points, we have already set the foundation for this series. And in the next video, we will be talking about how data, decisions, and outcomes come into the picture. And stay tuned because that is the juicy part, because that is when technology actually start to make sense. And as I said before, if you are a student or a fresher or basically anyone who is trying to navigate through their tech or corporate career, then stay tuned with me in this series. We will be understanding things one by one in a step-by-step manner. I will see you all very soon in the next part of this series. Until then, take very good care of yourself. Bye.